Chairman Cruz, Ranking Member Cantwell.
They rumble together too, man.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Let me just build on what my three colleagues have said and offer a few thoughts. The first is I just wanted to refer to the chart on this easel that shows the AI tech stack that was also in my written testimony. It makes a simple but I think important point. We're all in this together. If the United States is going to succeed in leading the world in AI, it requires infrastructure, it requires success at the platform level, it requires people who create applications. Interestingly, we at Microsoft get to work with all three of these leaders and their companies. Our success, each of our success,
let me turn them up because they're whispering in
depends
these
on
mics,
each
man.
other's success. And what's true of the four of us is true when you look across the country and around the world at open source developers, people who are building power plants, electricians and pipe fitters who are going to work every single day. So what do we need from the Congress and the country in order to succeed? I think it's three things. I described them in my written
Is it too loud? Let me know if they're too loud, y'all.
First, as Chairman Cruz said, we need innovation. Innovation will go faster with, as Sam said, more infrastructure, faster permitting, more electricians. We need more innovation fueled, as Ranking Member Cantwell said, by support from our universities and the federal agencies that support basic research across the country, one of this country's crown jewels. We also need, as Chairman Cruz said, faster adoption, what people refer to as AI diffusion. The ability to put AI to work across every part of the American economy to boost productivity, to boost economic growth, to enable people to innovate in their work. And the number one ingredient for that, history shows time and time again, is skilling, investing in education. And finally, we need to export. If America is going to lead the world, we need to connect with the world. We need to remember, I believe always, that as a country, only 4.5% of the world's people live in the United States of America. Our global leadership relies on our ability to serve the world with the right approach to export controls and always, especially in technology, in our ability to sustain the trust of the rest of the world.
Appreciate everybody tapping in the stream so far today, man.
Take the time, if they take the time to watch or read about this hearing, may wonder, what is this all about? What are we at this table trying to do? What do these two letters AI really mean to them? Are we who are working in this industry trying to build machines that are better than people? Or are we trying to build machines that will help people become better? Emphatically, it is and needs to be the latter. Are we trying to build machines that will outperform people in all the jobs that they do today?
Come on, yeah, it's happening.
Or are we trying to build machines that will help people pursue better jobs and even more interesting careers in the future? Indisputably, it needs to be the second, not the first.
Facts.
And I believe that is what we are and can do together. As somebody who's now spent almost 32 years in this industry, there are two things that always strike me. The first probably won't surprise you. Never underestimate what technology can do.
Big
how
facts.
quickly it can move, what it can accomplish. But the second is one that I think is too seldom discussed, even though every day it stares us in the face. Never estimate what people can do. Never underestimate human ambition. Never underestimate what a person can do if given a better technology tool and the ability to learn how to put it to use. That's the story of this industry. It's the story of the country. It is, as you heard, the story of Sam Altman. Not everybody becomes a Sam Altman or a Satya Nadella or a Bill Gates. Everybody deserves the opportunity to try. Tonight across America, whether it's the attic of a house or the basement or just an everyday bedroom, there are kids with computers, with phones, with access to the internet, and now the ability to put AI to work. Let's invest in their education.
I was just
Let's invest in the skills that the American public needs. Let's then invest in creating the future.
Appreciate y'all tapping into the stream today. I am your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I see the chat. I was letting this testimony get off to, they've came here and some people want to hear from them. And before this congressman starts speaking, I just want to introduce myself for what it is. I'm the Hip Hop Lobbyist. Welcome to my channel, the Hip Hop Lobbyist channel. We will be tapping into President Trump's live conversation. Let me make sure I'm speaking into the mic right. His live trade deal. But first, we're going to tap into Sam Altman testifying before the Senate today regarding AI competition. And I think that's a major thing because if you've recently heard AI and automation, not only at the ports last year when they had that little strike that shut down America or the world for 48 hours supposedly, but also with jobs like UPS or they're shutting down 76 facilities before the end of July and cutting 20,000 jobs. A lot of it automation, people that were loading and unloading trucks because they're losing their jobs to AI. So a part of it is some of this conversation as we're going to tap back in here is not only to talk about this major trade deal that Trump's going to do or announce with the UK, but also see what they're talking about regarding AI, because AI is being integrated to a point of HR is not just dealing with DEI. They're not just dealing with people who had issues from the military or things of that nature. They're actually to a point of saying, all right, cool. How are we going to automate jobs? Because the technology we're using and buying has replaced Sally and Billy and everybody at the job. So we got to let them go because they cost too much, because this new technology, this new AI helped to remove their job. But let's tap back into the committee. I appreciate everybody tapping into the stream so far. I'm going to get to the chat, but I want to respect, some people who actually want to listen to the committee and not just hear me talk, but I will hop in when I need to. But more than anything, I appreciate y'all tapping in. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And I am, again, your boy, Hip Hop Lobbyist. Let me get through the chat, though. I appreciate y'all.
Support from our government, but you also need the government to stay out of your way so you can innovate and win this race. How do we incentivize companies to do business here in America to make sure we win this race in America and America leads? Not just China, but other non-state actors too. I mean, I think that the scariest thing about AI from a capability standpoint is it doesn't have to be a state actor to win this race. It's not like nuclear energy, it's not like space technology. I mean, a non-state actor could just as easily win this race and wield more power than anyone else. So how do we encourage innovators, investment to happen here in America to ensure we win this race? Mr. Allman, you want to start?
We were honored to announce back in January Project Stargate, a $500 billion investment in United States infrastructure. That is now well underway. As I mentioned, getting to see it yesterday in Abilene, the first site was incredible. We need a lot more of that. We need certainty on the ability to build out this entire supply chain, build the data centers, permit the electricity. We'd love to bring chip production here, network production here, server rack production here. And I think the world does want to invest. We have a lot of global investment flowing into the US to do this. We also want to make sure that other countries are able to build with our technology, use our models, and sort of like be in our orbit and use US diffusion of technology here. So that's really important. We need to make sure that the highest skilled researchers that want to come work at US companies can come here and do that. We need to make sure that companies like OpenAI and others have legal clarity on how we're going to operate. Of course, there will be rules. Of course, there need to be some guardrails. This is a very impactful technology, but we need to be able to be competitive globally. We need to be able to train. We need to
just drop a new poll in the chat for y'all.
For services and
everybody tapped into the stream today.
So clarity there, and I think an approach like the internet, which did lead to flourishing of this country in a very big way, we need that again.
Dr. Sue?
I would add, I think computing is the foundation to all of this. We want to have more compute built in the US by US companies and ensure that we have a great environment for that. We want to ensure that our technology around the world is also used broadly and in the right ways. So I think the conversation about export controls and rules should just be simple, easy to follow, easy to enforce, and enable US AI platforms to be the foundation. And then certainly the comments around bringing manufacturing back home and ensuring that we have the right talent base are all extremely important elements of that.
Are companies
I
weighing
gotta add this in. I appreciate this
business
chat.
in AI in America versus China?
Oh, hilarious.
Are companies making that side-by-side comparison?
I think if you look across the world, there are countries and companies that will ask those questions. If it's hard to obtain U.S. technology, although U.S. technology is the best, If it's hard to obtain, then there's a hunger for AI, and they will choose what is available. And if China is available, that will certainly be a outcome that we would not like to see.
Well, I think I hear the words infrastructure, electricians, universities, regulatory framework, and I think those are things we can help with. I hear words like innovation and talent, and I hear Dr. Su, run faster. Those aren't things a government can't manufacture talent. We can't make you run faster, but we can give you the tools to do that. And I think it's time that we create a framework so that you have the tools you need to win this race, because you're going to be the ones that win it, not us. Thank you for your testimony, and recommend Catwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to continue that same theme generally about competitiveness. Do we need NIST to set standards? If you could just yes or no, just go down the line.
I don't think we need it. It can be helpful.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so in the context of what we're talking about here, we're really just talking, I don't know, Mr. Smith or Mr. Integrator or Dr. Su, the issue here is if we want to move fast, we want to create, just like with electricity, the standards by which we want to move fast. Here, I would just call it code for code is what we want, right? We want NIST to do something in the standard setting that will allow us to move much faster. Is that right, either Mr. Smith or Mr. Integrator?
What I would say is this. First of all, NIST is where standards go to be adopted, but it's not necessarily where they first go to be created. So we've got work.
Thank you for that clarity.
Yeah.
We're talking about a industry, IEEE, lots of different organizations, industry input, and then they're adopted. So yes, let's clarify that.
Yeah.
Let's clarify that.
I think that's the way it works.
Yes, but you think we need to do that, particularly if the United States wants to lead?
We will need industry standards. We will need American adoption of standards. And you are right, we will need U.S. efforts to really ensure that the world buys into these standards.
Okay, Mr. Integrator?
I think it's important that when you're working with standards, what that allows for is a common vocabulary, which allows for acceleration. And
They're not talking about nothing, man.
to the extent that we can step into that role and establish touch points where everyone can agree on specific things, that will lead to an acceleration both domestically and abroad.
And I don't know if, drilling down more on what you think those are, but in general, when I think about the internet and HTTP or HTML or any of the TCP/IP, we're talking about things that allowed us to move faster. And getting those standards established helped us do that. On the export issue, Mr. Integrator, the issue of cloud sources shouldn't be left out. If we say, let's go with Malaysia, Malaysia is going to tell us that they can certify that there's no, diversion of these chips to Asia, to China, and we basically have a way that we can make sure that this is understood and monitored. Then we also want access, right? We want access by U.S. companies.
Yeah, I think Lisa's point was excellent, right? At the end of the day, the world wants to be able to build and deploy.
This is a great
artificial
question.
Intelligence in a very broad way.
This is a great question.
We, nature abhors a vacuum. If we do not step into,
I'm just
that
calling you
role,
churs.
other technology will step in that role. If it is suboptimal,
This is a great damn question.
it's better to have something.
I opinion, how do robots use cognitive function? Do they program themselves?
Well,
Do they provide a resume of qualifications?
Huawei that develops faster and then has a government backdoor, and then we all have to raise opposition. I'm for a tech NATO. I'm for the 5 most sophisticated democracies and tech nations setting the rules of the road and saying, this is who you should buy from. Don't buy from anybody else who has a government backdoor. Not a good idea.
Right.
So that's how we get leverage. I'm not so hot on the president's tariff agenda for this very reason, because we're not building the alliances, we're creating the enemies. And what I want to do is get the supply chain here, get the semiconductor flow here, lower the cost, and go as fast as we can.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that's I don't think anybody's not going to agree with that, right? I think that's an excellent objective. I just think that what will happen beyond the 5 NATO companies is that there will be a demand for artificial intelligence, and they will proceed with what they can proceed with.
Dr. Su, what is your view of this about how we win, how we protect our objectives, but we're more aggressive on the export strategy?
Well, I think there is a clear recognition that we need an export strategy, and so having this conversation is very important. And from our perspective, the idea is to ensure that our allies, and frankly, I use allies in the very broadest sense, get access to the great American technology that we have with the appropriate controls in place. And I think you can do both. To your earlier comment, Ranking Member Cantwell, about
Lemon Soda made a great point in the chat.
U.S.
Companies have dumped billions. Let me turn her down for a second, Dr. Su, actually. I respectfully let us finish.
Because we do have the best
Let Dr.
technology
finish.
today, and using that to really build this broad AI ecosystem is really our opportunity.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Charge my damn phone.
The senior senator from Ohio.
Thank you, Chairman Sheehy. Make sure Senator Cruz heard that one. So first of all, thank you for being here and taking the time. If I could just real quickly just confirm that I've heard what you said pretty unanimously, which is we need dramatically more power generation in this country. Is that correct?
Facts. We don't have enough on the grid to push this through, to catch up with AI.
You just recently did a partnership with TSMC to manufacture your chips here in America. Thank you. I think it's a little bit long overdue. I wish you had we had done more of that earlier. Are those semiconductor fabs high energy users?
Thank you, Senator. We are very pleased with our efforts together with the government on bringing more manufacturing back to the United States. To your question, certainly semiconductor manufacturing plants are high energy users, and we do need more power for both manufacturing.
We don't have enough, man.
Data centers, as you mentioned.
And without chips, this just doesn't work. Like if we don't have the highest performance chips made here in the United States, this is not going to happen here, correct?
We absolutely need the highest performing chips, and we also need the entire ecosystem for chip.
Hold on, we're going to switch over.
Wafers are one piece, but there are many
To
others.
President Trump here.
And are those chips powered by solar power?
We got President Trump speaking.
Especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers. And our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know. In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries, because it'll be really great for the UK also. So they're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast-tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries, and we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed, and they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Furthermore, in a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So we have a big economic security blanket, and that's very important, and we feel very, very comfortable with that because it's been a great ally, truly one of our great allies. I mean, a lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people by saying that, but I can say it's certainly one of our greatest, and right at the top, and they're the first one we're talking about.
I never started the Rumble stream, did I?
Many meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country wants to be making deals. And we have a meeting. As you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be very, very interesting. Let's find out, but I think they want to make a deal very badly, too. Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. Steel is a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel and things necessary for military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen, and we haven't, we've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together. Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter, the special relationship and external bond. It's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever before, and we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional, and it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular the Prime Minister. And I'd like to introduce him now to say a few words. Mr. Prime Minister, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries. And I think it's a real tribute to the history that we have of working so closely together. Can I pay tribute, Donald, to your negotiating team as well, particularly Howard and Jameson, who've done an incredible job, a very professional job.
Wow.
And my team as well.
I heard it.
Two negotiating teams have worked at pace now for a number of weeks to bring in this deal today. Really important deal. This is going to boost trade between and across our countries. It's going to not only protect jobs but create jobs, opening market access. And as you say, Donald, the timing couldn't be more apt, because not was it 80 years ago today that victory came for Europe after and at the end of the Second World War. But of course, on that day, the UK and the US stood together as the closest of allies. And Donald, I think even down to the hour, because you may or may not know that it was about this time of day, exactly 80 years ago, that Winston Churchill announced victory in Europe, and that led to great celebrations across Europe, across America, but particularly in the United Kingdom. Literally people going out into the street, putting bunting up, going up to the palace. And so to be able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward, almost at the same hour, and as we were 80 years ago, with the UK and the US standing side by side, I think is incredibly important and makes this truly historic.
They really thought this through,
close
chat.
Relationship has endured over those 80 years. As you know, Donald, when it comes to defence and security and intelligence sharing, of course, there are no two countries that are closer than our two countries. And now we take this into new and important territory by adding trade and the economy to the closeness of our relationship. It is built, as you say, on those notions of fairness and reciprocal arrangements. We've always had a fair and balanced arrangement between our countries. This builds on that, hugely important for sectors like car manufacturing and for steel and aluminium and so many others. And yes, we can finish ironing out some of the details, but there's a fantastic platform here, including, of course, on the tech side, where I think I'm right in saying we're the only two Western countries with trillion-dollar sectors when it comes to tech. And in the end, it comes down to, as you say, Donald, economic security is national security. On national security, we've been absolutely the closest of allies for so many years, keeping the peace through that close alliance, that friendship. And now we add to that this deal on trade and the economy. And I want to thank you for your leadership on that, Donald, and for the way in which your team have negotiated this. And I'm so pleased that we've got this deal, we've finalised it, and we've built an incredible platform for the future. So thank you so much. Donald, I'm now going to go and do a press conference. I think you have your press in with you, but on the details, I think if you've got Howard, we can deal with that through one of my team.
That's great. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. It's an honor. We're going to have a continued, maybe a better relationship than ever before. You know, I don't know if the media knows, but the U.S. and U.K. have been working for years to try and make a deal. And it never quite got there.
Yeah.
It did with this Prime Minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this President, this Prime Minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years.
That's right.
And I'm really pleased, and it feels completely historic and on a special 80-year anniversary as well. So, Donald, thank you so much. It's really good to have got this deal over the line. Tribute to both teams, tribute to our countries, and tribute to your leadership.
Thank you. Well, it really is a great thing. And you go do your press conference, and I'll see you soon. Maybe speak to you later. But thank you very much. And an incredible thing. I can't tell you that for so many years, even as I sat, everybody talked and talked and talked about a deal with, it just seemed like a natural deal, but it was not done. But now it was done with us. So I feel very proud to have been.
I'm getting to the chat in a minute.
Keir, thank you very much.
Thanks, Donald, and we'll speak again soon.
Very good. So long. Bye.
Bye-bye. Conversation's over, bro.
That's very nice. Why don't I do this? Why don't I have our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, give a little description of the deal pretty quick, and then the good side, the very nice side, we'll be speaking about it also, maybe, from so you get a pretty equal. I think it's a very, it's just been a deal that was, we thought, very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country that we really didn't have the kind of access to that I would have thought. I was surprised. I think it's why the deal never got done before. It was, you know, they've been working on this deal for 25 years. And we got it done, and we got it done. Really, it's going to be great for both countries. So, Howard, if you could go, and then
I'm going to straighten this out for my vertical people.
You'll pick whoever you want who'd like to do it.
I'm going to straighten this out so everybody, so you can see everybody in the frame. Yeah.
You guys go ahead, and then we'll take questions right after that. But I think you'll get a pretty good understanding of how big it is. It's a very large deal, very big deal. And Howard, go ahead.
So the UK is the 6th largest economy in the world, and the 4th largest that we export to, right? So it's a huge market, a top 10 market. If you remember Liberation Day, they were at 10% because we have balanced trade with the UK, right? They say they have a surplus, but of course that counts gold bullion, which is, so let's just call it balanced trade. So how do you open up a market in balanced trade? People think it's impossible. They've always thought it was impossible until President Trump came on the scene and changed the way things work. So here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access, ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exporters. So the question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before, and we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion.
Wait, the tariff ain't going nowhere?
United States. So the idea was, how do they keep their jobs, protect their economy, and do the best for their people while opening the market for us? And the way
they ain't losing the tariffs. It's kind of interesting.
The team was exceptional, and they tried to figure out the markets that they're importing from other people and try to send them over to America. So why were they always favoring others and not us? And what they've done is they've found the ways to do that so that we have new access, right? But the UK workers are protected, and that was the balance. So we did a deal with them in automobiles, and you know, if you're not building here, we charge you a 25% tariff. But the president, and by the way, I want to make this clear, while Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal, and people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my left, and if you don't think that we take advantage of him calling the prime minister and getting that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So he's the closer. He gets deals done that we could never get done because he understands business.
Listen,
he
man,
understands
you got.
and that's why we're here today. So he agreed they could send 100,000 cars into America and only pay a 10% tariff. And that protects their car industry. And remember, we do 16 million cars a year. So this is only like 0.6%. But for the UK auto people, this is tens of thousands of jobs that the president agreed that he would protect for them. So he made that deal, right? Then steel and aluminum, right? Their steel business has been destroyed like everybody else has been destroyed by people dumping steel into their markets. And British Steel had announced it was closing down. So the British government, as part of this deal, nationalized British Steel, and they're going to match the kinds of models we do. They'll put tariffs on, they'll put quotas on. They want to do it with America so they can be part of the resurgence of steel and aluminum in America, and that saves them, again, thousands and thousands of jobs. So if you go step by step, aero and commercial planes, they sell Rolls-Royce engines to Boeing. We've agreed to let Rolls-Royce engines and those kind of plane parts to come over tariff-free. And what you're going to hear today is there's going to be an announcement.
What the hell just happened? Oh, my bad. That's on me. That's on me.
Later today, but I'm going to let
That's on my bad, Chat.
airline announce it because that's theirs to do it. Part of this deal was always to do it together and to do it strong. And you can see the numbers on this board. Everything about this board works exceptionally well for the United States of America. It lays out the plan that you can work with us in autos. You can work with us with aero and commercial. You can work with us in pharmaceuticals if you have a supply chain that is secure and protected in national security. So we feel really good about the deal. You've heard the Prime Minister. He feels really good about the deal.
Chat going crazy
and we
today,
started
man.
At 10% and we ended at 10%.
Chat popping.
And the market for America is better. And this is a perfect example
Oh,
of
God.
why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand he gets things done in a matter of time. This would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe. And instead, we got it done.
It took 20 years before y'all, so how y'all is going to get it done in 3? That's the question.
Work for Donald Trump. So Jameson, my partner in all this, maybe Jameson, you'd like to talk a little, and then we'll turn it over to the UK.
Sure, happy to do that. Everyone has had great remarks. I just have to echo the President and the Prime Minister when we talk about VE Day. This is something we've been waiting for decades, and there is no more appropriate day to do this. And when we step back and we look back a few weeks from now or months from now or years from now, we're going to look back at this day and better appreciate the significance, I think. And I'll just say as well, in terms of negotiating, I mean, the UK negotiators, you know, we've got one right here, did an incredible job, right? This is why you win wars, right? When you act like this. And,
Putting a new poll in the chat, y'all.
More about trade than a lot of us.
Are you excited about this new deal?
And I would say on this deal, Mr. President,
with the UK,
is that it is time to change the way we do trade. People said we couldn't do a global tariff. We did a global tariff. They said no one would want to deal with us. People want a deal. They said no one would give offers. You saw that stack of offers I showed you yesterday, all those countries. Said we wouldn't get deals, and here we are with a deal with the 6th largest economy. We've agreed to have fair and reciprocal trade, and we've done it in record time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ambassador, please.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much indeed in hosting us this morning. And thank you very much indeed also for that very typical 11th hour intervention by you with your phone call to the President, demanding even more out of this deal than any of us expected. So thank you for that. The Prime Minister was delighted, obviously, to take that call late at night. But you took it to another level, and I think the point I would make is twofold. One is that if we're going to rebalance and rebuild international trade in a way that serves all our interests, then we're better doing that together than separately and apart, and that's what we're on a mission to do. But secondly, you've done what you said you would do. You said to the Prime Minister when he came and we visited in the Oval that you would do a good trade deal with the United Kingdom, that you would do it at pace, and that we would be first. And you have delivered that. You know, you've been true to your word. So Thank you very much indeed for that. For us, it's not the end, it's the end just of the beginning. I mean, there is yet more we can do in reducing tariffs and trade barriers so as to open up our markets to each other even more than we're agreeing to do today. But it also provides us with the platform, the springboard, to do what I think will be even more valuable for both our countries in the future, and that's creating a technology partnership between the United States and the United Kingdom so that we can harness science and technology in order to create future industries and future jobs, and to do that together in the way we work so closely already in the national security and defense.
I don't think anybody's listening to this guy for real, man.
Yet further
I'm setting up other strange in chats.
Enterprise.
And I can't translate that.
We're looking forward.
So if you are here, hold on, let me mute the British speaker. I can't translate that. So if anybody could translate, I believe that's Yiddish, or Hebrew. My bad, Yiddish is a language, my bad, that's Hebrew. So if anybody could translate that Hebrew for your boy, that'd be very, very appreciative. You can drop that in the Google Translate. I think it'll do it, but I may be able to do it too, but I appreciate y'all tapping into the stream. If it's your first time here, I am a hip hop lobbyist. I'm a professional lobbyist in the state of Florida. This is my YouTube channel. We just hit 1,000 followers, I want to say 2 days ago. We started off at 47 a couple months ago and really been doubling up, right? But more than anything, I want to thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to tap into the stream with me, watching President Trump announce this deal. We'll be going back to the Open AI committee. I paused it around Ted Cruz's testimony. I think he's asking questions there, but I'm going to yield to the rest of this. I believe the press is asking a question. Let's yield to President Trump, because I know something will be spun out of this by the liberal media and the conservative media, Fox News, MSNBC. They're all the same to me. Either way, I appreciate y'all tapping to the stream. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you're enjoying the content so far, I appreciate you.
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK, and it opens up a tremendous market for us, and it works out very well, and a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country. We've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal.
Hey, how you doing?
I was in the, first term.
Let me try to copy this Hebrew.
People talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal. But we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have
so we already have trade with this country. This is nonsense.
I was surprised to see how big your country.
For some reason, they had a deal that couldn't get done for 20 years though. That's the craziest thing. What deal couldn't they get done for 20 plus years? That they had to redo it again on the 80th. How about those showers?
Depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world. So I was very impressed by that. But we're going to take it to new levels. It's a very big deal right now, but I think it is going to grow just of its own volition. It's going to grow, and over time there'll be changes made. There'll be adjustments made because we're flexible. We'll see things that we can do even better. But it's very conclusive, and we think everyone's going to be happy, and the people of your country are going to be very impressed with the result, and they'll be able to buy from more people. They'll be able to price things differently. They'll be able to get some products that aren't available to them now that we make better than anybody in the world. And it's just something that it's a great thing that it came together. It's so nice because we have many countries want to make a deal, and many countries are very unhappy that we happen to choose this one, to be honest with you. But long time. Our oldest ally, or just about. Guess a couple of people claim.
The chat is popping today, y'all.
Put it right at the top. I think it's going to be something very special for UK and special for the United States. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. How close are you to more deals, and when do you expect the next to be announced?
Well, very close. We have numerous deals. I know Howard's going back. As soon as this is finished, your press conference, he's got numerous. And
Sup,
Scott,
Squeech?
right over here, who's fantastic, by the way. You were great on television this morning. I watched you. That was
Marianne just said something about he loves being on TV. See, look, Trump is listening to you, Mary. The president's watching.
Switzerland, meeting with China, and you know, they very much want to make a deal. We can all play games. Who made the first call? Who didn't make the? It doesn't matter. It only matters what happens in that room. But I will tell you that.
Shout out to Simplify.
Wants to make a deal. We'll see how that works.
Shout out to all my armed services members that serve the country, put their life on the line. I appreciate y'all. Everybody tap into the stream, man.
The United States on trade, on military, on protection, on all the different things, and we are now making fair deals. And in this case, it's great because we really weren't very much involved. You have the European Union, which is, I think you made the right decision years ago. I don't know if you remember, I was opening up Turnberry the day that you were voting, and they asked me, would it happen or would it not happen? I said, no, I think they're going to go their own separate way. I think it's better for them. And they did. I think it's going to end up being a very smart decision. But a big part of that decision was always that you'd be able to make a deal with the United States, and they were unable to do that. But now they made it, and it's a tremendous, it's very important. That was always a big part of your decision on Brexit, and they were never able to make that deal. It was a tough one, and this one was. It's amazing with time. This one just went very smoothly, went quickly and smoothly, and a lot of common sense, as I like to say. It's tremendous common sense, but it's going to make your country much bigger in terms of trade, and it's going to make our country much bigger in terms of trade too. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the.
Behind you.
Oh, Tom Bateman at the BBC. Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned meat.
You with who?
The BBC.
Oh, good. Very nice. They treat me beautifully.
You mentioned meat and beef exports. The UK currently doesn't accept American beef because of its own food standards. Are you calling on the UK to accept all American beef and chicken products?
Well, I think they'll take what they want. We have plenty of it. We have every type. We have every.
That was some great comments. I appreciate y'all tapping in and engaging the commentary today, man.
Kennedy is,
how you doing, Douglas?
Tremendous job, and he's, I think, probably heading toward your system with no chemical, no this, no that. I think we're heading that way. It seems to be, and but we have that also. So we're a very big country. We have a lot of beef. We're a very big country, so it'll be great. Yes, yes.
You want me to jump in?
Yes.
Let's talk about American beef really quickly, and it can't be understated. I'm Brooke Rollins, by the way. How important this deal is and what this means to American farmers and ranchers. Specific to the beef, this is going to exponentially increase our beef exports. And to be very clear, American beef is the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world. So I think a really
I didn't know that. Y'all knew that?
Reducing of tariffs from 19 to 0.
Wait, did y'all know that American beef was more like? I guess we haven't had mad cow disease in a while, right? I didn't know that. I mean, I know that we probably eat a lot more beef than a lot of other countries, a lot of red meat more than other countries, but I didn't know that. Listen, man, welcome. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Let me know if you knew that. Did you know America had the best meat? And that sounds crazy to me. Pause all of that. America has the best meat, y'all. That's crazy.
The best in the world.
Pristine meat.
Tractors, the best everything in the world, and they say that our agriculture is, second to none. You understand, and it'll.
Oh shit, I'm tripping, y'all. My bad. I keep sliding clicking this Bluetooth mouse, fucking me up, man.
TV, Daniele Compatangelo, LA7, TV 2000, Primetime Media. So congratulations for the deal. We see a big revenues from the chart. But what's the rest of Europe? It's a victory day, but other European countries, it seems like they're losing the train.
We intended to make a deal with Europe. We have found that the European Union treated us extremely unfairly, very difficult, and hurt themselves in doing so. And they very much want to make a deal. We'll be dealing with them. We are dealing with them currently. So that'll cover pretty much the rest of it. but this was separate because of Brexit in particular. This was a separate deal. It always seems so natural. I mean, all the media would say that this seemed to be like, why did this happen 25 years? Why didn't it happen a long time ago? And it was always amazing to me. Somebody would say, hey, we got to make a deal. We have to make a deal. But this deal just fell into place. The Prime Minister did a fantastic job. His representatives are total professionals, and they got along well, and it just seemed to work. And I think one of the reasons it did is because we blew up the whole system. If we would have just been dealing with you separately or, country by country, we blew up the whole system. It was very fair to the United States. And I think because of that, this worked out so nicely. And I'm honored that it was the first deal. Please.
Sir, you mentioned.
Well, why don't you go in the back? Yes.
Oh, thanks, sir. I'm with the London Times.
Make Trump bigger.
This is a great day for James Bond because now Aston Martins will be available to American buyers. But it'd be even better by extending it to
Nasty work for the James Bond reference.
on films, and we'd like to know if there'd be relief on British.
Well, we're going to have a discussion on that separately, and as you know, we're putting tariffs on that particular film. You said the movie makers, and we're going to be doing some tariffs to get them because a lot of them have left this country. They all live here. The money comes from here. Everything comes from here, but they make them.
Trump is a gangster. Pablo, you're right.
Do something to bring them back, maybe to a large extent. But James Bond has nothing to worry about that. I can tell you, James Bond.
I think Idris Elba's still supposed to be James Bond.
Sean Connery was responsible for my getting zoning in Aberdeen. He said, "Let the bloody bloke build his golf courses." And, I was like 4 years into the process, and it was impossible in Aberdeen. And I don't know.
Hey, Chrissy from South Africa. Appreciate you tapping in, man. We in South Africa today, y'all. Appreciate it, man. International.
He was a great guy, Sean Connery, and great character.
Later in the year.
Gangster paradise.
To Scotland and to the
I will be sure. It's great. We have a lot of investment over there. We have Turnberry, Aberdeen. We have, as you know, and
I agree with that. Judges should not be left or right. Great comment.
I only have interest if they're on the ocean, and we have good investments over there. It's been beautiful. Yes.
Mr. President, if the talks go well this weekend between Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer with their Chinese counterparts, not preemptively, but if the talks go well, would you then consider lowering the tariff rate on China?
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see. Right now, you can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down. I think we're going to have a very...
Hey, Malaysia in the building, Joyce. Appreciate you, man.
That relationship...
We are international today.
...disturbed by COVID, when COVID came in. But we get along very well now. I mean, the relationship was hurt with a lot of people, a lot of countries when COVID came in. But I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I expect to have a very good relationship with China, Scott. I think it's a very friendly meeting. They look forward to doing it in an elegant way. China, as you know, has a tremendous trade surplus with us, and we just can't have that.
Every day we talk about China, bro.
I think it's going to be very good for both.
Every deal, every day.
I would like to see China opened. One of the big things here is, and nobody would know this, but the UK was largely closed. It was very much closed to trade.
Hey, Kimmy.
And now it's opened, and a lot of the financial reporters are very happy about that because so much. I listened to them. I hope they get countries opened up.
I kind of agree with Robert.
You compete on a fair basis, but you can't compete when you're not allowed to go there. China would be the #1 example.
Jay, I wouldn't put that out there, boy. If they see that, the wrong people see that, you could be in trouble, my boy.
COVID, and that didn't work out.
Oh.
But we made a great deal with China. They had to buy $50 billion worth of our food products, and it was a great deal, doing very well for our farmers. And then when Biden came in, as usual, nothing happened. He didn't enforce it, and it got less, and ultimately, it destroyed a great deal. That was a great deal. But no, I think...
I'll turn my mic down. Appreciate you, Alan.
I think we're going to have a good weekend.
My bad on that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Trying to get my levels right.
I do think they have far more to gain than we do, in a sense, but...
Thank you. And let me know if this is better, Alan.
Very good weekend.
I wasn't trying to be too low. I wasn't trying to be too high.
Sure. Depending on what Scott says, we Scott is doing certain countries, and Howard's doing certain countries. I mean, I wish I had like 10 more of each. Then we could do them all at one time. But there will be a time. We'll do a number of them, and then there'll be a time. I think I can say this, Scott and Howard, where we're just going to say, because we understand the countries, we understand what they want. where we're just going to make the deal. In other words, we don't need the country.
I'm doing pretty well, Kimmy.
Because we've already had it. And we'll say.
I'm doing
this
pretty well.
particular country
We have a Canadian say that Trump is
surpluses, let's
brilliant.
say we had therefore deficits, that this particular country is going to pay a 25% tariff, or a 30%, or a 50%, or 10%, or whatever it may be. This was, I think we should explain.
Having some of the results from the poll up for y'all to see.
Here that we'll rarely do.
149 y'all voted. I appreciate that. I think that's more votes than Kamala Harris may have had last cycle.
It's not going to be built here. I wouldn't even ask them to do that.
Ozzy, I don't know why your comments being deleted. I don't have a filter on here. I'm not that big of a channel yet, baby.
One of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small.
Are my levels better? Let me know. Let me know if my audio levels are better. I don't want to be screaming in your phones, or if I'm on your laptop or whatever. And if you're on Rumble, Twitch, TikTok, wherever you are watching the stream today, I want to appreciate y'all tapping in. Even folks on Twitch. Thank you for being here with your boy, with the lunchtime vibe, with the president.
And I said, yeah, that would be good. Let's help them out with that one. But that's different than a car company that comes out and makes millions of cars, which they'll be doing in our country. They're going to build. We have many factories, car plants being built or going to be built very soon. I think we can say that we'll be close to $10 trillion of investment. I think we're actually at that number now. If you add up some of the ones we haven't heard about yet.
I got you. I'm gonna turn them up. I got a filter on that one, so I'm gonna turn Trump up. Turn me down.
Because of the tariffs. And tariffs have always
been. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. I didn't mean to be yelling at your ear earlier.
As you know, China paid hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs when I was president. But until then, China never paid anything. And, you know, they really did a big number on us from the standpoint of trade. But we are using tariffs now for our benefit. And we have now.
But are the tariffs working at the detriment to American people?
If you look at the past administration, and we're talking about over, essentially 2 months, because we could say 3, but it took a little while to get the office in perfect shape, right? It took a little while to get things done. But once we started, when you think of that, close to $10 trillion of investment, you've had years where the United States wouldn't do that wouldn't do $1 trillion in a year, wouldn't do anywhere near $1 trillion. We did $10 trillion in 2 months. So it's amazing what's happening. We're getting calls from, and that has to do with chips, has to do with cars. We used to make chips. We had Intel, and we used to make chips. We had a monopoly on chips. Everything was made here. And now, over a period of years, because of presidents that didn't know what they were doing, they allowed that business to be stolen from us. Most of it moved to Taiwan. And you probably were in the same position, right? Because you had a lot of the chip-making capacity, but they moved it in. And if we would have said, that's fine, if you want to move it to Taiwan, that's good, but if you want to sell back into the United States, we're going to put a 50% or 100% tariff on, they would have never left. But we had people sitting here that didn't understand that, and it's too bad. But now they're coming back, because I'm saying it about 40 years too late, but they're coming back. As you know, we have the biggest chip makers in the world spending, in one case, $300 billion, in one case, $500 billion.
Dropping a new poll in the chat, y'all.
And in another case, $200 billion. And
are the tariffs working, but hurting the American people?
Share of the chip-making market.
You said that this weekend is going to be a friendly visit, but do you expect that it will just be a formality to break the ice, or are they going to get into substantive negotiations?
I believe so, yes. I believe it's substantive, yes. I think people like to say, yes, we're having a meeting to meet. Well, we're meeting, so what are we going to do? Talk about meeting again? I think it's going to be substantive. I think we can say that, right, Scott? Very substantive. Now, China wants to do something. And look, they have to at this point. Essentially, they made $1 trillion a year, and now they have absolutely, no business because of the tariffs. They have no business. And they want to have business, and we want them to have business. We want them to do well. We want them to do very well. So I think it's going to be very substantive.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned.
In China.
But we're seeing, as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
Yeah, no, that means we lose less money. When I see that, that means we lose less money. Look, China was making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to.
Yeah, I don't have a filter on Trump's mic, so this is audio coming in low from the other side, y'all. I can't turn it up. I was trying.
We would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can. I'd like to say they can do better, actually, in terms of the bottom line. We'd like to see China opened up so we can compete in China and, you know, give people something that they've never had, you know, access to something. That'd be great for the world. It would be great for our businesses, and I think it would be great for friendship. I really expect a lot of people think I'm a militant guy. I'm really not. I think that trade can bring a greater friendship with China. It can be something good. But, you know, one of the things that I know Scott's going to be talking about very high on the list is open up and let our businesses go into China, because when you talk about a closed country, that's a really closed country. And I think it would be great if it was opened up. It would give people a lot of choice and would create a lot of jobs, a lot of everything. So I think it would be a great thing for China. And that's going to be one of the things we'll be discussing, like we discussed with UK.
That China piece will be huge next week. Hey, Daily Runs.
Baseline 10% tariff that you'll maintain.
Well, I think that's set because that has to do with a lot of different things, including past. You know, there are a lot of past things that we talk. This is very inclusive. We included everything, and that's pretty well set. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, the 10% baseline tariff remaining in place, is that a template for these future trade deals? You say you're going to keep it here.
No.
Is it going to stay in every case?
No, that's a low number. They made a good deal.
I get you. I kind of made it that way for a reason.
They have massive trade surpluses.
With the poll question.
You know, in many cases, they didn't treat us right. One thing with UK, they had it, you know, somewhat closed, not like a China as an example, but they always treated us with great respect.
So
they treated us with great respect. The template of 10 is probably the lowest end, and therefore they, you know, made that deal. But they, you know, we've had just a very special relationship with them. Like, I won't do that deal with cars. I mean, unless somebody shows me that there's another kind of a car that's comparable to a Rolls-Royce. And there aren't too many. This is a good commercial for Rolls-Royce. They're going to order a lot of cars.
Mr. President, I wonder whether you'd like to buy.
I mean, well, the last time this happened, I ended up.
I would be happy to suggest a discount, obviously a very modest discount. We have to protect our profit.
I'm gonna zoom it out so y'all can see everybody in the room.
You know, the last time that happened, I ended up buying.
Where's Vice President Musk?
Thank you. Mary Margaret Ollahan with Daily Wire. I had a question about the UK deal today. I heard there was talk that part of the agreement would depend on whether the UK would respect free speech and freedom of religion. I know the VP is really interested in that, talked about that.
DeAndre had a good
Is there any
comment.
assurances that you guys got on that front?
You want to handle that?
Yeah, that was not part of the conversation. Our conversation was an economic conversation from start to finish, closed by the president yesterday. This was a business deal, open their markets, and also protect their workers, grow our markets, and help our workers.
This was about business religion. You know, business is sort of a semi-religion, but not nearly as important. I don't want to get myself into Go ahead, in the back.
Mr. President, will you be asking China to help you close, you know, the gap between Ukraine and Russia?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a natural thing to ask.
What do you expect?
Sure. I don't
I
know.
hear you,
I think
Kimmy.
we're making good progress. The fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, you know, going at it to maybe get the whole thing. And without our involvement, they'd be able to get it, because we supplied a lot of different things, foolishly. But we've been sort of paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that, no, I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000, it's really more than that. But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen anything like it, actually. And if we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard. And I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional who's got a great relationship with both countries. And I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to. I want them to be very successful.
Mr. President, Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. On the non-market barriers, how did you get the UK to bend, and what was the 11th hour deal or ask?
Well, I think it was really just a part of the overall. I mean, they have so many things that are so good for them. It's going to be so good for the country, and that was sort of easy. It wasn't. We had non-market. I call it non-market or non-monetary trade barriers, and we have quite a few of them. Not nearly as bad as some countries. Some countries have, they have virtually no tariff, but the rest of it is so brutal you can't do business with them, right? So it's a very important question, actually. No, I think the overall deal just worked out very well from their standpoint. They were willing to give that in order to get other things, and you might want to speak to that, Mr. Ambassador.
Look, the point about the deal is that we will continue reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers. This is a continuing picture. It's a movie. It's not a still picture here. It's a movie. It continues. And we're both
this chat is wild, y'all.
Freeing up trade between our countries.
Paul's wild.
We're both committed to freeing up investment between our countries.
Paul is wild,
the
bro.
The point about this deal is that it provides a very good template and a very good launch pad for what we can continue to do and build on in the future. And that's what we're both determined to do.
Many of the we'll keep it confidential. How about just one more little thing, right? It got the deal closed, and it was handled very well from the other side too. But many of these things that we're talking about, we've been talking about this for 25 years. It's hard to explain when if you weren't sitting behind this beautiful Resolute desk, you just wouldn't get it. I have been hearing about making a deal with UK for 25 years. And especially around the time of Brexit. They wanted to make a deal, so they came out of Brexit and they make a deal, and how natural. And it just couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Good people. And this is a bigger deal. This is a much bigger, better, stronger deal for both of us than we ever even contemplated before.
Is that better for Trump? Y'all can't hear him better now?
Said that it would end in failure, it would end in tears.
Actually added 3.9 decibels since we got to 39%. Let me see if we can add a little bit to Trump
now. Due to Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer have been absolutely fantastic. But yesterday I received a call, a very diplomatic call that just edged things over the line, and that was from your new ambassador in the United Kingdom.
Who is terrific. Right?
Warren Stevens, he's here.
Where is Warren?
Right here.
Hello, Warren.
How are you? He's flying to London tomorrow night. He's going to be very popular with the British people. He's going to be a very successful ambassador.
And?
Were you disappointed?
And? He's got plenty of cash. That guy's plenty of cash.
We need some more big spenders.
You're going to go ahead fast.
Yes, are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Council, anytime soon?
Oh, she's so fantastic, right? She's so fantastic. I hope we're going to meet. Yeah, the answer is yes. I saw her a few days ago. And I think that we'll definitely meet, yeah. The European Union is a big thing. They want to make a deal very badly. Everybody wants to make a deal. Look, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States, and we're doing that, and we're going to make fair deals. I'm just honored that this was the first one.
Thanks for the subscription, Kimmy. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, everybody who's taking some time. Everybody who's taking some time out of their lunch day, wherever you're in the grocery store, you're in the toilet, wherever you're at, you're at your desk right now, ready to get off work, and you're taking some time tapping into the stream with your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I appreciate you. Now, I am reading the chat. I'm respecting the president. For some of y'all who actually want to hear him, I'm gonna let him get there. And I'm reading through the chat. I'm trying to get my audio levels right. I'm still a rookie at this OBS thing. I've got the basic setup. I've done most of this myself, but some things I need to tweak. So I'm gonna get the AI and hopefully tweak what we need to. But let me get back to the president and Philip. I appreciate you. We got a namesake. I'm a Philip with 2 L's. I see Philip with the 1 L in the chat. Let me get back to the president though, man.
Strength and what we've done, and
It was a guy at the
I'll tell you
top,
what, if
audio
we didn't
engineer,
have our
and
first
zero
term,
conversation.
you wouldn't be, we created things in the first term. We cut more regulations than anybody.
Thanks, Philip. I appreciate you, man.
We cut the
Y'all
taxes
hilarious.
more than anybody in history. And a very big factor is going to be the tax bill that we have right now, the one big beautiful bill, as we call it, which is all encompassing, the biggest tax cuts ever in history, bigger than even the first time, and the incentives, even great for the UK, because it'll make us so strong that we're going to be doing more business with you. It's a very important element for taxes, for every aspect, regulation cuts. That bill is, I believe it's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know, we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship.
Let's see what the stock market does with that, man.
Going to be numbers that nobody.
Let's see how the S&P responds to that statement right there the president just made. If the stock start jumping up.
If you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight.
That's a new one.
A normal person. If you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be
I
fine.
like that one. Trump derangement.
But they have Trump derangement
syndrome. I kind of like that, y'all.
I'm a Palestinian. He's, welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So. Very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing, unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even more business with the UK. We'll have so much. It's the biggest tax cut in history. It's going to make our country zoom. It's going to be incentive, as you know, with the deduction for, basically for work. You work, you build, you plant, etc., your deduction.
New poll up in the chat.
It's going to be the biggest, it's the biggest bill of its kind ever passed. Maybe the biggest bill ever passed. That's why we call it the one big, beautiful bill.
You just announced a new nominee for the U.S. Surgeon General who never finished her residency and is not a practicing physician. So can you explain why you picked her to be America's top doctor?
Because Bobby thought she was fantastic. She's highly, she's a brilliant woman who went through Stanford, and as I understand it, she basically wanted to be an academic as opposed to a surgeon.
DeAndre got a great point, man. DeAndre, man, I appreciate you tapping in for the stream. I got to invite my man on to talk some politics, man. His point is for real.
Thought she was great. I don't know her.
It doesn't matter. Stop the president for a second. It don't matter left or right. It's about the people. And a lot of times I do feel that regardless of party, you elect people and we get people in positions that forget about the people that elected them in the first place. But let me get back to the president. He's just answering another question.
But he's a terrific person, and he wasn't getting the support from people that I thought. You know, he's done a very good job. Crime is down 25% in D.C. During his period of time. I'm very disappointed in that, but I have so many different things that I'm doing now with the trade. You know, I'm one person. I can only make, boom, I can only lift that little phone so many times in a day. But we have somebody else that will be great. I just want to say Ed is unbelievable, and hopefully we can bring him into whether
Brian,
it's DOJ
thanks for
or
subscribing,
whatever,
man. I appreciate that.
in some capacity, because really outstanding. It was, to me, it was disappointing. I'll be honest. I have to be straight. I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed, but that's the way it works sometimes. You know, that's the way it works. And he wasn't rejected, but we felt it would be hard. And we have somebody else that we'll be announcing over the next 2 days who's going to be great.
With companies like Ford and Mattel recently saying they're going to raise prices on certain products, how long do you think the American public is going to be patient and wait for you?
Well, I think they're saying that just to try and negotiate deals with me. They're not. Look, tariffs are the most misunderstood thing maybe in any form of business, anywhere in business. Oftentimes the country picks them up. Oftentimes the company picks it up. The people don't
Best
pick it
president?
up. Okay, the people don't pick it up. And if Ford did
Is
that,
Trump better than Washington and Lincoln?
Mattel, I don't know.
Best president?
I'm not so sure. They also said they're the only country I've heard. They said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States, and that's their biggest market. I heard that. I mean, I watched this guy talking about how I'm going to go counter. I said, well, I wouldn't want to have him as an executive too long. The Ford people I know very well, what they're doing is negotiating with us by saying that, but we don't think that's going to happen. Look, I put out a truth today, and it said that gas is down, gasoline is down, energy is down, groceries are down, eggs are down. I mean, eggs, thank you very much, but eggs are down. When I came in the first week, you guys hit me with eggs. I said, what the hell happened with eggs? Eggs were up.
I'm going to pause the live stream. I normally don't like to do that. I like the president. I mute him and keep going because, I like to keep it live because you never know what could happen, right? But I asked this the other day when he was at the University of Alabama, and I'm going to ask this chat again. I'm going to put another poll in. We just finished this one, right? Are eggs down? Actually, no. How much are eggs in your city? How much is gas in your city? Right? Wherever you are, let me know your location if you want to in the chat, right? I am streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and whatever. So some of this information may pop up, right? So be careful. But I'm also going to put in, is it working? Because I don't know if the eggs, milk, bread, cheese, all the other stuff, because my premonition, my thought process is, to be honest, I said it the other day, I watched the Margaret Thatcher documentary once, right? A movie on her life. And essentially, she grew up in her father had a storefront selling milk, dairy, all these other products. And basically said the theory was when the price on the farmer or the buyer goes up, everything transports over to the person, right? To the consumer. Basically, when butter goes up, eggs goes up, all the other things, it moves over to the person buying it. And that's how you feel the pinch because that trickles up, right? Are eggs, milk, and gas cheaper? That's my biggest thing because the president's saying $1.97, but how much is it in your city? I'm going to unpause the live stream. I appreciate y'all tapping in.
Up like 170% and going up, and they said don't order any for Easter, and we were thinking about ordering plastic eggs like everybody was doing, and Brooke did a fantastic job, agriculture. Brooke did a fantastic job, and we had hundreds of thousands of eggs out here on the lawn just 2 weeks ago at Easter, but you take a look at the cost. Energy's down, even interest rates are down. Now, if they cut the rates yesterday? Chairman of the Fed, Jerome, if he would lower interest rates like China did, like I think UK did, but like numerous other countries have done, it's like jet fuel, it'd be great. But he doesn't want to do it. I think he doesn't want to do it. Probably he's not in love with me. I think that's right. It's sort of a crazy reason, but that's the way life is. Anybody in his position would be like jet fuel. But even without that, we're doing well. But remember this, I've watched you people reporting over the last few months that if we do this, prices are going to go through. Well, groceries are down. All of this stuff is down. Lumber is down.
Are groceries down?
Oil is gone to, we have that thing broke 60, right? $60 a barrel. And 90.
Maybe it's because, no lie, if the president has Secret Service and all the other things, like for real, Donald, Mr. President, whatever name over time, right? When was the last time you really went grocery shopping by yourself? Like, put the mask on, dressing you up, anything but blackface, and go to Walmart, go to Kroger, go to your local grocery store and with $20 or $50 and tell me what you get with that. Because I'm based on $20 or $50 because there could be a mother riding the bus and that's her last $20 or $50 and see how it was there. I just want to know, but groceries could be down. I do think, I'll be honest, I do have a toddler. I think some of it's gone down, but have you really felt it? But then again, it depends on your city. If you live in an urban area, maybe it's gone up. If you have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, maybe. I know that you can get $36 worth of fruit, which is probably one ride on Uber Eats, right? Or whatever you get. Maybe there's cheaper food out there. But let's get back to the president.
$1.98, $1.99 in some cases. And heading in that direction. No, I think it's been amazing, actually. And what that's good for, it gives the consumer more money, and it gives them a better life. Because we just came out of the worst inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. They say 48 years.
Inflation's over?
But Biden really screwed it up. He screwed up energy.
Is the inflation over?
He spent too much money. He was spending it on, a green new scam. And that's like throwing the money. See that beautiful window behind? Take money, throw it right out that window. because it's the same thing. He spent $10 trillion. He wasted it. Not only was it bad, it was a negative. It wasn't even like it helped a little bit. It was a real negative. And then on top of it, they let 21 million people into our country without any identification, anything. Just let them in. It's very, very sad. Well, we'll do one or two more.
We gotta go back to the Oversight Committee.
Go ahead. Who are you with?
I'm with the Daily Telegraph. Now, you know me from another
I do.
How concerned are you about the UK's reliance on China? Chinese money in the money markets, Chinese exports.
Oh, my bad.
You know, honestly, I'm not concerned about anything. If I was, I wouldn't even be here right now. If I was concerned about anything, and it wouldn't be that, but I wouldn't be here right now. No, we're not concerned. We're going to have, I believe, a very good relationship with China, and a fair relationship, and it'll get bigger and it'll grow. It'll grow. As an example, if they open up the country, that'll be the best thing China ever did for itself. They don't know that yet because, you know, it's been a different system. But that'll be the greatest thing that ever happened.
Gas and $1.98.
People will be happier. They'll buy for less. They'll see things that they never saw before, and they'll be buying them. And it'll really create great long-term peace.
And if I could ask one of the Agriculture Secretary, actually, there's a lot of concern about chlorinated chicken, the import of hormone-treated beef. Has that question been addressed, resolved in these talks, or is that something for the continuing negotiations?
Well,
James.
I would just say that it's very clear, and we have in the heads of terms that we are going to discuss all of these types of issues, and obviously the importing country, whether it's us or them, you got to follow the rules on those types of things. But our point is the rules need to make sure that they are based on science, and that's our expectation. We know the UK believes that too, so we want to come to an accommodation. We want the consumers in each country to be able to choose what they want and give them the information that they want.
Okay. We have an incredible EPA led by Administrator Zeldin that is on this. So the talks continue, but we are very, very confident in our products and what the president has done to open up the market.
I don't know who's on camera talking about.
For these farmers here in America.
Whoever talking not on camera.
Message from Wall Street as they watched this. You saw the stock market.
$17 in Minnesota.
Well, now it's going to really.
That's crazy.
You know, don't forget, they said this is all a pipe dream. And this is a tough one. This is, somebody would say, well, this is easy. This is much tougher, I think, than any other deal because they've been at it for so many years, decades, trying to make this deal. And it's very conclusive, and it's a great deal, and it's a very big deal, actually. No, this is just the beginning. We're going to be having conferences, or at some point we won't have, we'll just put out a statement that we just signed this country, that country. And after a number of these are done, nobody has enough people to do it. We're just going to put out X country is going to pay this, and if they open up, they're going to do this and that, and they're going to be open up. Everybody wants to be here. You know, I say this is where they want to be shopping. They want to shop in this country because we have the consumer, and we have the consumer like nobody else. And you know, if this country went bad, the whole world would go bad. But we really saved it from going bad. Yeah, please.
So can I ask you about the air traffic control issue? Are you looking at getting new software?
I'm glad you asked me about it because I'm just going to be talking to now with the heads of the airlines and everything else. So I was all set before we had the rigged election to give out a brand new gorgeous system to one company that was going to do the whole thing, one of the best companies in the world that you know very well. You know, there are 3 or 4 of them that do it. And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, you know, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue.
Bruh. I know y'all heard that. I mean, the people in the red states, they heard that and they have the picture painted clear. That is hilarious. Riding a bike with his husband on the back. Trump gonna find a way every time.
And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party.
Trump hilarious, man.
He didn't know what he was doing. And he took what they call
agree with all this shit.
Systems where you have wires in.
But Trump be on it,
the
boy.
earth or whatever.
Pure comedy.
And then you have the open air systems where you have satellites, and you can't mesh them. Anybody would know that if you went through about 2 months of study in school, if you studied that kind of thing. And he did. They spent tens of billions of dollars trying to take old, broken equipment and merging it into existing new equipment with brand new equipment. It's one of the greatest. They spent like $40 billion. And what they did is they made it worse because it doesn't work together. You can't make it work together. If you have a satellite system, you need satellite. If you don't, they had all these different technologies, some of them 50 years old, and they're trying to mesh them in. And they end up spending twice the money.
Thanks, Gwendolyn.
You could have bought a whole
Appreciate you
new
tapping in
system.
today too, man.
So we have a very good guy who you all know, Sean Duffy, is head of transportation, and I've given him a 10-minute lesson in buying, and he's become really good. And we are now in the market to buy a gorgeous, brand new system. The helicopter that crashed into the plane at 400 feet, it shouldn't have been. What would have happened is all sorts of bells and sirens would have been going off 3 minutes before that accident happened, if you had the right equipment, but they didn't.
That's not what I think the people said. Now, I don't want to make this an issue because I think they made it about DEI, but what I heard is that, and what I read, and I'm not going to put it up on here, but what I read somewhere, saw on social media, you know, you got to believe what you see sometimes, that the lady pilot got the instruction, but she didn't listen. Now, I know that for a lot of young men or men out here, you probably are very familiar with that. You told your wife something, told your girlfriend something, and all of a sudden, it's like, huh, what'd you say? I was talking to you for the past 15 minutes. That's a very unfortunate situation. But from what I'm hearing about the bells and whistles that the president's saying here, that's not what the people came back and said. They said that she was given an instruction and she didn't listen. That's at least what I heard.
And the new equipment is unbelievable what it does. You can have, you don't even, well, I was going to say something, but you always, in my opinion, you always need pilots. I want pilots. But you wouldn't even have to have pilots. This system is so incredible what they can do. But we have a system that's obsolete. And what they did is the worst. They tried to combine the really old, broken stuff with the new stuff. And you can't combine it. And anybody should have known. So Biden, do you think Biden figured this out? I don't think so, fellas. Do you think he has any clue? He doesn't know what the hell's happening. So here's the story. We're going to be buying a brand new, it's going out to bid very soon, brand new state-of-the-art system that will cover the entire world. I'll give you an example. When
the Golden Dome?
Now I have military pilots, but prior to that, I have very good pilots, great pilots. They would land, and I won't tell you which country, but they would use the system of another country. They wouldn't even use the system of the United States. So if I'm landing in New York or Florida or Tennessee, they're using a system from another country. I said, why is that? And they were, you know, they're not into business, but they're just saying, our system doesn't work, sir. And I said, boy, that's pretty sad. But we were all set to give it out.
It's all technology. That's really what it is.
You have a Raytheon, and you have different companies like that, numerous companies. And you have companies that would do it, like an IBM, as an example. And you give out one deal, one contract. They gave out hundreds of contractors. They had diggers. They had non-diggers. They had people who focused on satellites. They had hundreds of different contracts. One contract where one guy is controlling everything. If you need a trench, then they dig a trench. But if you don't dig the trench, they don't blame you. What happens is you don't dig it, then they say we want a cost overrun. Now, we have it all set, and we're going to be doing it. We would have done it, except that the election took a little strange turn. But the second one didn't. That was too big to rig.
How come, and I hate and I love to say this, why is he still on the 2020 election results? My dog, you won. Like, even MAGA supporters, my conservative friends that are out there, let's be real. You have an ex that came back. Why are you still going on about why she left you in the first place? Bro, you won. You married, you got the kids, you got the family. Like, the dude she stepped out on you with, he didn't win. Biden had him for 4 years, but you know, she came back to you. And she gonna be here for at least another 4. I don't understand, because it's almost as if, and I seen it the other day at the Michigan rally, right? People are still holding on to that pain. Let that hurt go, MAGA. Let that, it doesn't even make any fucking sense. Like, I'm not saying old and senile, none of that. You gotta let that hurt go, Trump. You lost, you won in 16. Hey, you beat the black guy. Yeah, beat the black guy. Yeah, beat the black guy. We got our country back. You won, then you lost. She stepped out. America stepped out on you. America said, you know what? You're doing a bit too much, bro. This COVID thing, people, family dying, you've been doing a bit too much, Don. And they left you. Now they came back. Why are you still upset? They didn't steal it from you. They said, I need a break. We all been in relationships where your partner said, hey, man, I need a month. I need a couple weeks. Just give me a break. Let that hurt go, Don.
Thank you very
Appreciate y'all
much,
tapping into the stream. Let that hurt go. Now we're gonna tap back in. Appreciate everybody here as they're trying to wrap up this. Hey, we'll move around, move the camera. Hey, you're in front of the camera. Thank you for joining that. We're gonna go back into the open AI discussion. I paused it around Ted Cruz's testimony because I do think that people want to see Ted Cruz. So let's get back in. If you don't know, first time here, I'm the hip hop lobbyist. I appreciate y'all tapping in. We just finished watching Trump's announcement on the UK trade deal. I don't think a lot of people in the chat really like it, right? It is what it is. I don't really see what we'll be trading. They said Rolls-Royce engines, things of that nature, but let's get back into AI. That's what we started this conversation, the stream at earlier. Let's see what Ted Cruz has to say. Then we're going to skip forward past Ted Cruz into the next one. Let me unmute this.
Action, and we should hope for all of these things to, I'll just say, strike a balance. We want people to make a living creating content, and we want AI to advance by having access to data.
Okay, thanks. I'll ask other questions on the record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You know, Senator Klobuchar asked whether AI will lead us to heaven or hell. It reminded me of a famous observation by Yale Law professor Grant.
Picasso's current unlisted stock offering is creating new opportunities for everyday investors to join
down with the lamb. In hell, there is nothing but law, and due process is meticulously observed. Let me ask you this, and this is to each of the four witnesses.
Straight my dog.
In the race for AI, who's winning, America or China? If the answer is America, how close is China to us? And what do we do to make sure the answer remains America will win? Mr. Altman, we'll start with you.
It is our belief that the American models, including some models from our company, OpenAI, and Google and others, are the best models in the world. It's very hard to say how far ahead we are, but I would say not a huge amount of time. And I think to continue that leadership position and the influence that comes with that, and all of the incredible benefits of the world using American technology products and services, the things that my colleagues have spoken about here, the need to win in infrastructure, sensible regulation that does not slow us down, this sort of spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship that I think is a uniquely American thing in the world. None of this is rocket science. We just need to keep doing the things that have worked for so long and not.
That's
and
very
not
true, Rudy. I agree with that.
Dr. Sue?
I'll answer in the realm of chips. I would say America is ahead in chips today. We have the best AI accelerators in the world. I think China, although they have restrictions given their ability to use advanced technologies, the one thing that's very important for us all to remember is there are multiple ways to do things. You know, having the best chips is great, but even if you don't have the best chips, you can get a lot done. So I think this conversation about how far behind China is, they are certainly catching up because there are many ways to do things. I think relative to what we can do, I will continue to say, really ensure that our spirit of innovation is allowed to work. And that is having very supportive government policies to do that.
Oh, shit, we got money coming in.
Allowing us to do what we do best, which is innovate at every layer of the stack.
Mr. Trader?
Hey, man, when you get that, I'm going to pause this for a second. Hey.
I'll speak to.
When that QuickBook notice hits, that the money is coming in, boy, it changes your whole mindset about life. Let's get back to the stream.
Good from the physical infrastructure and software stack to deliver that. America is ahead, but it is the Achilles heel from the perspective of the ability, as I started to better? Sorry about that.
Hold on, gotta take this call and mute
the
this.
ability to build very large solutions to the computing infrastructure component of this is an area that we're going to struggle with from a permitting and building large projects to be able to deliver the power to allow those building artificial intelligence to continue to move as fast as they can in the race that we're in.
Mr. Smith?
I think the United States has a lead today in what is a close race and a race that will likely remain close. The number one factor that will define whether the United States or China wins this race is whose technology is most broadly adopted in the rest of the world. This is a global market, and it will be defined as technology markets typically are by network effects. 18% of the people in the world live in China, 4% live in the United States, 78% live somewhere else. The lesson from Huawei and 5G is whoever gets there first will be difficult to supplant. We need to export with the right kinds of controls. We need to win the trust of the rest of the world. We need to have the financial architecture that gets not only to the countries that are industrialized, but the nations, say, across Africa, where typically China and Huawei have done so well.
So some of my colleagues have made reference to standards as something that is desirable, and I will say standards is often code word for regulations, and indeed the EU's stifling standards concerning the internet is what killed tech in Europe. We are seeing now state legislatures mimicking the EU, such as California's SB 1047, which thankfully was overwhelmingly defeated, but would have created essentially a California DMV for AI model registration. How harmful would it be to winning the race for AI if America goes down the road of the EU and creates a heavy-handed prior approval government regulatory process for AI?
I think that would be disastrous. To give a more specific answer to your previous question, which I think touches on why it would be so bad, there are three key inputs.
I gotta stop for a second, stream. We got a new client, baby. Contracts being sent, about to get signed. Invoices about to be sent over, baby. It is a great day to be an entrepreneur. Appreciate y'all tapping to the stream.
To these AI systems, there's compute, all the infrastructure we're talking about. There's algorithms that we all do research on, and there's data. If you don't have any one of those, you cannot succeed in making the best models. And as Brad said, the way for America to influence the world here is to have the technology that people most want to use and most adopt. The world uses iPhones and Google and Microsoft products, and that's wonderful. Like, that's how we have our influence. We don't want that to stop happening. So systems that stop us on any of these areas, you know, if we have rules about what data we can train on that are not competitive with the rest of the world, then things can fall apart. If we are not able to build the infrastructure, and particularly if we're not able to manufacture the chips in this country, the rules can fall apart. If we can't build the products that people want, that naturally win in the market, and I think people do want to use American products, we can make them the best. But if we're prevented from doing that, people will use a better product made from somebody else that doesn't have the sort of, you know, that is not stymied in the same way. So it is, I am nervous about standards being set too early. I'm totally fine, you know, with the position some of my colleagues took, that standards, once the industry figures out what they should be, it's fine for them to be adopted by a government body and sort of made more official. But I believe the industry is moving quickly towards figuring out the right protocols and standards here, and we need the space to innovate and to move quickly.
So if each of you could briefly answer that question, because my time's expired, so I want to be respectful of that.
I agree with the comments that Sam put up.
I agree, and I would just say, and I think the point you're making is we have to be very careful not to have these pre-approval requirements, including at state levels, because that would really slow innovation in the country.
That's the problem, though. That's the problem. I'm happy he kind of said that when we called that for a second, because I work at the state level. I'm a lobbyist at the state level, right? The state regulations matter because of the grid. We cannot expand chips, algorithm, data centers, and really be competitive in AI with the federal mandate telling us how we should operate in states. Because what happens is this: even though you need a lot of energy to pump these data centers, what happens with that discharge of energy? Now, if you're familiar with brownfields and other contaminated areas where, and there's a lot of urban communities, black communities back in the day, there's a lot of things to where if you build in these facilities somewhere, if they're in our waterways, if they're in our, basically connected to our earth, what happens with all the energy that's being like on there? On top of it, when you have states with municipal utilities, municipal-owned utilities, you have investor-owned utilities. You could be in like the New York area national grid. You could be in the Tennessee Valley area. They have Tennessee Valley Authority, which is a federal basic utility provider for North Alabama, North Georgia, and those places, right? Then you have city-owned utilities, investor-owned utilities like FPL, or Duke Energy, SoCal, Georgia Power, right? Those end up, and I'm in the energy sector. I'm also a legislative chair for the American Association of Blacks in Energy. So I'm very attuned to the entire conversation around AI, because to me, there's an innovative standpoint of saying, okay, how do we create jobs in the AI sector? What does that take? And at the same time, the intersectionality, as people love to use that word, of AI taking jobs on top of the impact on the grid. Because a bigger issue like OpenAI, ChatGPT, they had a bid out earlier this year. I was in the Florida Legislative Committee where they were looking at 15 states to basically pass regulations so that they could build data centers in those states. The issue ends up being, if you're not building that on a Army base, a naval base, or somewhere that has the infrastructure to handle that, you're really putting everybody at risk, because nobody knows how much is generated. Like, case in point, I know I'm rambling a bit here because I get a little excited about it. To put a data center in, maybe power a ChatGPT, like one of the data centers, it would take all the power out of the city of Tallahassee, or damn near half of Miami, right? Just to provide enough power to that one data center. So regionally, that could be like providing power to 700,000 people and businesses in one region of a state, right? How many grids on a municipal level, on a state level, can handle that? That's why we have so many solar farms out here, to help not only how people generate, but sell back to the grid, sell back. It's like all this is a conflated issue to basically say, we don't have the energy infrastructure available to be fully competitive in AI. Let me get back to this though. And after Ted Cruz speaks, I'm gonna skip forward in this because this is live. So I want to at least get through some more of this conversation, see what else is out there, but I at least want to share some insight there as well. And my phone is popping today, man. We may have more clients.
Patchwork of regulatory overlays will cause friction in the ability to build and extend what we're doing.
Thank you. Senator Curtis. Senator Schatz, sorry, apologies.
No problem, Chairman.
I'm skipping forward
for being here. I just want
to some other senators.
The Chairman's question. And
no, we're just going to go live. Let's just go live to where they at.
On the committee. Okay.
Man, we got a commercial. I still haven't bought YouTube yet. So we got a Uber commercial. Hopefully there'll be a sponsor soon.
Happen, and all of a sudden everybody turned their attention. You can still see the and the crowd just erupted in applause.
We have a new poll.
Immediately putting up their phones, recording, people looking around. Some degree of disbelief. Of course, that's what they came, that's what they were hoping to see, but people can't believe they are actually seeing it. Some telling us I was going to wait here till I got to witness history. Well, they just got to witness history. 260 Pope, the Catholic Church.
Wait a minute.
Seth, I'm wondering if you could stick a mic in somebody's face and see what they have to say. Let's feel their emotion.
Sure.
Somebody tell Coop we got a new
Can we
pope,
just
man.
ask you for a second? How are you feeling? I know you said you were from Italy. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I took a day off to come here because I knew that Conclave was going to start yesterday, so I came on purpose and I took a day off. Yeah.
You took the day off to be here. What does it feel like to have a...
I mean, frankly, the next time that it's going to be like 14, 15 years. I will be in my 40s, so I just wanted to be here.
You wanted to be here. All right. He thinks it'll be a long time till the next Pope. We'll see who's... Oh, actually, this is an American we met earlier. If you could just stick with me. Come on in for 2 seconds. Remind me of your name?
Jackie Clark.
Jackie Clark. We met her earlier. Tell me, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling insane. I mean, this is such an incredible experience. Like, we happen to be here studying for a semester in Rome with our college, and our flight is on Monday, and so we just happen to be here for the conclave, and it's like, I just feel so surreal right now.
Describe the experience for you.
Well, I was like, when it didn't come at like 5:30, I was like, I don't know about today, and then we just heard the screams, and I was like, I looked up, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this.
Yeah,
So it's just like,
that is just
So excited.
that is just a sampling of the excitement here in the crowd. People can't believe they've been here to witness this moment. Back to you.
Fantastic,
That's
Seth.
kinda
Thanks so
dope.
much. I was down in the square with people who've been here, you know, all manner of entry points, vacation that extended longer because of this. People that just happen to be here, Catholics, non-Catholics, everybody just trying to feel this moment and experience the white smoke, which is just an amazing concept. And in the age when we have all this technology, we could have seen this on Instagram. They could have posted it. Instead, we're watching this ancient tradition continue.
You know what you're going to see now, Maurice, is this square fill up with even more people because we have a bit of time to wait before the new Pope comes out. And so people in Rome will come running down to the square now and fill it up even more. Have they announced who the new Pope is?
There is now the anticipation, as Delia just mentioned, the moment that you will remember for the rest of your life if you are in the square. People, of course, running now to the square because we have not yet learned, they have not yet said, Habemus Papam, and revealed who will be the next Pope for the more than billion Catholics worldwide.
I won't even hold you, chat. My FIFA Pro Clubs team, we had a bet. We were trying to gamble. I wasn't trying to gamble. They were trying to gamble on who the next Pope is. And some of them wanted to have Turk off, right? So we're going to see who the Pope is. I'm going to go back to the AI piece. Because this will be a while. I'm going to try to find another stream that has that. And let's try to pick up if that committee is still in. And if not, we're just going to keep on moving, get some Diddy testimony. But from what I'm seeing, it is still live. Get some history here for the people here. Oh, my bad. I forgot to unmute. My bad. I'm listening to myself.
Of the man who has been elected, he will don one of those sets of vestments, and then he will come back out. The cardinals will greet him and congratulate him personally, and then we will have the Habemus Papam announcement, which, let us remember, begins. Annuncio vobis.
I'm not gonna hold you, bruh. The best. I'm gonna pause this. We got about to go back to the Open AI committee, right? But I just started streaming recently the past 2 weeks. I put the chat in here. Like, listen, the chat has been hilarious, bruh. 3D Destroyer. The Pope doesn't need all that gold and wealth. If they really wanted to help people, they sell all that gold and feed and house people with the money. Now, you know good and damn well they not doing that in Vatican City, baby. Let's get back. I got Open AI. I'm gonna switch that over. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me mute this one. Oh, mute you. Go back here. I'm tripping, y'all. My bad. Yes. I thought the audio was on. He asking questions. I'm right here listening. My bad on that, y'all.
Thank you, Senator Lummis.
I'm losing subscribers and losing followers.
And thank you all for coming today. I really have been amazed at the outstanding progress that continues to be made in this field. And I'm already seeing people in Wyoming that are using ChatGPT or Claude to improve their businesses, whether it's healthcare or mining or oil and gas or education, ranching even. I'm just really excited about what this opportunity brings to America. Now, as I see it, the world has presented us with two paths. On one hand, the EU has chosen to regulate first and ask questions later. The GDPR is already limiting European access to the most capable AI models. On the other hand, China appears to be fast-tracking AI development, standing up large amounts of energy very quickly in an attempt to outcompete America. So I'd like to ask a few questions about how we can make sure we get the full benefit of this technology and accelerate its development. So first question, over the past year, we've seen many states, including California and Texas, consider their own AI frameworks, each one significantly burdensome in their own right. At the same time, our lead against China is shrinking to about only 6 months. So first of all, Mr. Altman, could you please sketch out what the world could look like if the U.S. were to have a patchwork regulatory framework and how that could impact our competitiveness?
I think it would be quite bad. I think it's very difficult to imagine us figuring out how to comply with 50 different sets of regulation. And in many of these states, there have been,
We're going to flip back over. I hear that the president is having.
I understand several of which could be passed.
The president's having another press conference. We're going to go back to Trump, Big Trump, in the White House again with Melania.
Work when we have dignitaries, they come around. They're as good as anybody in the world. You can go to the Philharmonic of any place, and they're as good as anybody. And so many others dedicated
Celebration for military mothers today with
members.
President Trump.
You all do an outstanding job, and you should take tremendous pride in what you're doing and what you do. I'm pleased to report that since November, enlistment numbers for every branch of the armed forces has surged to the highest levels in 48 years. Can you imagine? Now, I do want to say that during the campaign, I used it all the time because it was good to use.
I'm going to fix Trump up for the verdict. My bad, y'all. Let me fix him up.
But I used it all the time. Your numbers were so bad. It was so embarrassing. Nobody was signing up. Nobody wanted to go in the armed forces. Nobody wanted to be a policeman. Now, just a short time later, that was in June, July, and then we started surging, and they started getting better and better, right, JD? But once November 5th took place, they had numbers signing up like we've never seen before, probably, maybe ever. But they say the minimum, you're talking 30, 40 years. Nobody wanted to sign up. They weren't proud of our country. Now they're so proud of our country that we have the highest. We've attained the highest levels, I think, ever. And the police forces, too. And the firefighters. I never forget the firefighters. They're doing great because people now love our country and they're proud of our country again. And it's only.
Listen, if you've ever been to D.C. and you've lived in D.C., the second you get off the airplane, all you hear is the firefighters and the police sirens. Man, what are we talking about? Got a little firefighters.
This lady and our incredible Usha, second lady. I always have a hard time saying second lady. I'm not sure is that a compliment or not. I say, JD, do you like me calling her the second lady? I don't know. That's the way it's been. She is a great person, great person. We used to have shortages. Now we have waiting lists because of all of this great spirit that's really devolved. It's been incredible. So as we celebrate military mothers today, we look forward to an incredible future for the United States Armed Forces and for our country itself, and for those great service members and for all of you who love them so much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce that very special woman that I talked about, our great First Lady, and she's loved by all. I just walked by the
Melania Trump on the stream, y'all.
And that is the most beautiful thing. We saw it yesterday. She took a lot of heat. She did it. It was so gorgeous, and these people couldn't do that if they tried. And those flowers were blooming. I said, how the hell? Two weeks ago, this is like beautiful green, but it was not. And now it just happens so quickly. But you did some job. Thank you very much, honey. Come on up.
Welcome, and thank you very much for your kind words. Motherhood. The life-changing event that makes women invincible and exposed at the same time. It's remarkable, really, that my son's life creates unimaginable, unpredictable concerns and thrills for me, even until this day. All caring mothers understand this rare feeling. Nothing against fathers, of course. But in my opinion, and I'm sure everyone in this room agrees,
I'll do the same for Obama,
only a
so
mother
I'll do
can
the same
grasp
for
this particular
Don, you know what I'm saying?
point. Military mothers and America, together, have developed an extraordinary parallel journey. They are filled with stories of personal sacrifice, determination, loss, and healing. Certainly, only military mothers have experienced this level of grace and resilience of American life.
Resilience?
And finally,
resilience?
aging. A sudden shift in family dynamics. An unexpected positioning change in life when caretakers become the caregivers. If this has happened within your family, you understand the precious nature of motherhood. Here now, in the White House, at this pivotal moment, I urge you to prioritize your well-being, nurture yourself, for your strength is the bedrock of a brighter future for our children. By caring for ourselves, we empower the next generation to thrive. Together, let's build a legacy of resilience and hope. Your journey matters. Embrace it. And indeed, the sacred strength of women is a profound force. With unwavering love and nurturing wisdom, we have the ability to inspire, uplift, and shape the future hearts of our children. This power, rooted in compassion and resilience, is a beacon of hope that lights the way for generations to come.
What is resilience? I'm fucking with you. I know what she's saying.
Our journey and inspire
resilience.
A mother's love and wisdom empower our children to flourish, instilling in them the courage to reach their full potential. Motherhood. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day this weekend, man. That means we will not be streaming on Sunday. We're taking care of the wife. Actually, I may stream and just have, appreciation for the wife. Immigrant. Y'all are wild. Chat is crazy today, man. That is crazy. That was a nice little intro and randomness with the president. We're going back to the open AI meeting.
For other forms of
and quietly, I'm gonna keep it here for a second.
Of course, we do.
Let me let Sam talk.
Society on this topic, and we are excited to continue to do so.
I don't know what you're talking about. Forget it. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett got into it yesterday in committee. So what I plan on doing is doing a little Diddy update, going ahead and find out, okay, what's happening with Diddy? Because they were doing jury selection the first 2 days. I don't know what happened yesterday. And then I want to see what happened between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett, because I heard that they had to shut the committee down for a second. And that'll be interesting, but I'm really debating. If y'all don't want to see it on the stream, that's fine. I can shoot the content by myself. I actually appreciate y'all tapping in with your boy here, but I actually want to see what's happening there on top of this committee. So I'm going to pull that in when I find out exactly what,
ladies and gentlemen,
when I find out exactly what happened there, and I'll cue that up. But I appreciate y'all tapping in for the stream this lunchtime with your boy, man. Let me get back to the open AI piece.
Cybersecurity and resiliency standards for federal data centers. And so to Mr. Smith, or I'm sorry, Dr. Sue, thank you. Dr. Sue, I want to ask you a little bit about hardware. Are there ways the hardware, like the
The
chips,
lucky dog said it. The UK said
new
there's
chips
no
that
deal with
we're
Trump on
hoping
anything.
to think about? I know my career as a software developer, we just know things have gotten smarter, faster, and they just
Who's
the
a
cooler
hater?
They can be, the better.
Wait a minute. I got called a hater? You can call me the N-word and I won't get offended. I get offended when somebody called me a hater. I had an obese person say that I was jealous of them the other day, and I was offended by that because, bitch, I would never be jealous of somebody obese. I may be out of shape, yes. Bitch, I ain't obese. I ain't sweaty when I'm sitting down, and I'm not about to have a heart attack when I'm walking, okay? But why am I a hater, Elizabeth? Elizabeth, what did I do? Tell me what the hater comment was, man.
Can compute. So how can we
What was the
make
hater
our
comment I
chips
said?
cooler? How
I
can
don't
we
like
make our
that.
data centers, our computing power more secure? And I know interoperability is sometimes a factor, but can you talk about this a little bit?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator. I think all of those things are extremely important, as you said. So in our part of the energy efficiency, power constraints that we have from a chip standpoint,
We all
our
out of
job
shape.
is to continue to.
If we're not LeBron James, if we're not an NFL athlete, even a top tennis star, we're not tennis really. You're not in shape. If you can't play tennis and move for an hour without breathing heavy, you out of shape and shit. We all out of shape. But nobody obese is gonna tell me that I'm jealous of them. I'll tell you that right now, bitch. That ain't happening.
Those are also very high priorities in our overall.
Especially when you smell like wet dog.
Future generation chips as well.
Oh, thank you. I look forward to working with all of you again on these important issues. Mr. Chairman.
Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the witnesses for the testimony today. I appreciate the chairman calling this hearing. And I agree with Senator Cruz's opening statement about this is a matter of national economic and national security.
Listen, man.
In terms of our
2 minutes, come on,
race,
man.
however you want to call it, competition with China. So I know this topic is
tennis ain't no workout.
press,
Tennis
but I
get your ass. You will lose some weight fucking around with tennis. They need to put a. I'm gonna talk to the HOA about putting a tennis court in the neighborhood.
Questions that this is a huge issue of national security, economic security relative to China, and we as America need to win in that regard. Very important. Everybody nodding their head. And then I know that it had been touched, but is the consensus among the witnesses that we are
I'd
ahead
rather
right
live in
now?
Norway. We got to
But
check in from Norway, man. I appreciate that. We had
tentative lead. What would be very?
We've had people from South Africa today, Finland, Norway, the UK. We've had a lot of international viewers today. I appreciate y'all tapping in for the stream. I haven't done a little roll in a minute. If it's your first time at the channel and first time here, I am the hip hop lobbyist. I am a professional lobbyist in the state of Florida. I've been doing the political thing for roughly 15 years. I've helped elect members to the United States Congress. I've helped elect members to state legislatures, mayors, county commissioners. I've put amendments on the ballot to amend the Constitution in our state. I've helped change laws and put money or move money and make government move for government contracting and nonprofits that are working with at-risk youth. Even better than that, when they were banning African American history and all the other stuff and banning books in the state of Florida, I was still able to not only get funding for suicide prevention, but for Black kids living in the urban core in the hood, to make sure that they had what they need, right? So my biggest thing is I have a different perspective about politics. I love it because this is my NBA, my NFL, right? However, I do realize that there's ignorance of people and people love watching or seeing political commentary. So I started a YouTube channel back in October when they had this whole narrative about Black men not voting for Kamala Harris and whatever. So I went through, you can look at the video, one of my best videos. I found 200,000 new voters in North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida that were voting for the first time. And that was a whole nother narrative. Didn't vote for Obama, didn't vote for Bush, didn't vote for anybody, but they wanted to vote this election. They wanted to find out why. Either way, could have been Trump, could have been Kamala, but we've seen the election results. Regardless of it, we started off with 47 subscribers here. And on my last stream, Thursday? On Tuesday, we just hit over 1,000. And I want to appreciate everybody for tapping in, taking some time out of their day, whether you're on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, or TikTok. Thank you for taking time out of your day to enjoy the stream and enjoy this conversation with me. Now, I know I've been over talking Sam Altman. Some people may want to hear the open AI stuff. Some people want to hear from President Trump. But more than anything, I want to thank you. So I'm not asking you to like and subscribe right now. You can like this if you're enjoying the content for what it is. I know I'm talking a lot. Go ahead, hit me a like. If you want to subscribe, see more content, hit subscribe. And I'm struggling, respectfully, trying to make time to shoot content because I have a business to run. I'm a husband. I'm a father. This is my office. We're doing a build out. So you're actually with me as we continue to build out the office. Hopefully it'll be done before 4th of July. I know it will be. But more than anything, I appreciate y'all tapping in the stream with your boy today for this lunchtime run. I actually got to feed myself in a minute. So I may step off the camera, leave this running. But more than anything, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend it with your boy.
LNG project that I think we're going to get off the ground here. We've been working on for a long time. We will have 100 years supply of natural gas. So we want you guys all to come up to Alaska with your data centers. We got cold weather. We got a lot of cold weather. We got gas. We got land. We got water. We got it all.
That's very compelling.
So yeah, come on up. When this project's done, 100-year gas supply, a little colder than Texas. So 2 questions that relate to our comparative advantage. Mr. Smith, and then any others who want to jump in. Energy, do we think that is? I think it is. And then second, it's, I think, somewhat of a disadvantage. It frustrates me. Maybe you guys don't see this. We've had American finance companies, venture capital firms, banks, others that remarkably, all the opportunities we have in America are helping fund some of these projects in China. I've been a real staunch opponent of Americans who have opportunities to invest in other places, investing in Chinese AI, Chinese quantum, because we all know they're going to use that to help make their military more lethal. I mean, that's what they do. I was reading recently about this benchmark capital. I don't know these guys.
Oh, Elizabeth, man, I wasn't taking a direct shot at Ivanka, the first lady, for that. I was just joking. I know her accent, and it was just one of those things that, you know, you're listening and you hear it and you catch it. I'm not hating on her. I have a problem with the first lady. I love Ivanka. I love Michelle Obama too. Some of y'all call her Michael. I don't understand it. Whatever, right? But I'm not gonna be overly disrespectful. I didn't say the stuff that other people said. Somebody called her a skank. I didn't say that. Have I seen the news? Yes, it doesn't matter. I didn't say nothing about that. But she mispronounced the word. I mean, it's the accent. So she didn't really mispronounce it. She just pronounced it how she's comfortable. It was a joke, man. Don't take it so harsh. Don't take it. I don't have no problem with Melania. Oh no, that was Melania. I called you Ivanka, didn't I? Whoever the first lady is. Whoever the first lady is, I fuck with. My bad. I did just butcher the names.
To our country and giving them access to venture
My bad.
capital. And
Melania,
we should
not Ivanka.
continue to burnish both of those. And I think you're right to ask where else is venture capital going. I'll just say this. If we can keep bringing the best people to the United States, and if we can keep educating the best people in the United States, I believe the money will be here to enable them to succeed. But
wait a minute now, Mr. Microsoft. Because they're deporting people right now. So who we bringing in? Now, there are some people coming in legally, but guess what? We have students with visas that are coming in that are here that are getting their visas suspended. Then they get reinstated. That's happened in the past month. I don't think this narrative of having people come here, and we just called it, I was talking before, so it could be whatever, right? I don't think that's going to work, young man, sir. Because people want, respectfully, I want you to teach the kids in America how to do this. We shouldn't be having people come overseas to do it. Why don't you help it? We talk about, I said earlier, legislative chair for an organization called the American Association of Blacks in Energy. Don't think DEI, just think C-suite executives in the energy sector, to making sure that when they're passing laws of workforce development, that some people are not DEI moving up, but we're in there. Like, we're opening doors. People do it all the time.
Let's make sure we're continuing to bring the best people in the world and giving them the opportunity to build great companies here in the United States.
And American venture capital funds funding Chinese AI, is that in our national interest?
I think there's a really good question about whether it is, and I recognize that you all are quite rightly focused on that. I'll just keep saying, bring the people here, they will have access to the money, and we will outcompete the world.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Markey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. I'd like to talk about the environmental impact of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can help us combat climate change by improving weather forecasts and enabling us to better predict power supply and demand. But designing and training and deploying AI models also poses real risks for our environment. The massive data centers that are critical for AI development require substantial amounts of electricity, putting stress on the grid and potentially raising costs for consumers. These data centers also generate significant heat. Cooling them requires huge volumes of water, often in regions already facing droughts because of climate change. And some data centers have on-site backup diesel generators, which can cause respiratory and cardiovascular issues and can increase the risk of cancer for the surrounding community. The truth is, we know too little about.
So I had to switch over my mic to my camera mic. Having some problems. Let me pause this. We may have some technical difficulties on this stream with my mic. If I can't fix this, I'm gonna have to cut the stream, cut OBS off and restart it. So this mic isn't working. I'm using my camera mic, so hopefully it's picking up better. If anything, like and subscribe. So if I do lose you and restart, that you can just jump back in the stream. But I'm trying to fix the mic for the technical difficulties. So I'm gonna have this run. If I can't fix it, I'm gonna have to restart, but it's gonna cut this stream and hopefully we'll restart it back up. But I appreciate y'all for letting me know that the mic was cut off and I wasn't just talking to myself, rambling for no reason. So I'm gonna let this run for a little longer. Let me try to fix my mic. If not, and I could use this, but it's gonna pick up everything at the same time. I don't want all my background to be picked up because I had this filtered in, right? But either way, I appreciate y'all correcting me for that. Let me get back to this while I try to fix it.
Agreed that it would be helpful for the government to conduct a comprehensive study on environmental impact of artificial intelligence.
Generally, yes, one study was just completed last December, and I think it's worth updating periodically.
Do you think it would be helpful for the government to convene stakeholders, including from industry and academia, to help better measure AI's environmental impact?
I think, as well as many other things that need to be measured, yes, I think there's a role to be played.
Mr. Altman, do you agree that the federal government should help with studying and measuring the environmental impact of AI?
I think studying and measuring is usually a good thing. I do think that the conversation about the environmental impact of AI and the relative challenges and benefits has gotten somewhat out of whack. I am hopeful that AI, we've been trying to address climate and environmental challenges unsuccessfully or not successfully enough for a long time. I think we need help. I think AI can help us do that. We've proposed, or we're in the process of building a 10 gigawatt facility, and we've got another kind of
my question is, should the federal government be on an ongoing basis studying the impact of AI?
Sure, and I think you should use AI to help.
Yeah. So that's why this Congress introduced the Artificial Intelligence Environmental Impact Act to study both the positive and negative.
So I'm gonna have to use my camera mic for now.
As the technology continues to develop.
Let me know if my levels are coming in too loud because I haven't set this mic.
Yes, AA.
I set this one out, that one. So let me know if I'm too loud real quick, and I'll just at least make sure it's not too uncomfortable.
It may.
For the people that are here, I don't want to,
AA
bust out
also
speakerphone.
could help to contribute to a climate disaster. That's also equally true. Okay? So we need to just.
And probably would have been better if I muted them. I just changed my mic over. Let me know if you can hear me better. If my levels are too loud, if they're too low, it is what it is. Oh, there it is.
Generation capacity in the United States was wind, solar, and battery. And Trump has said he's going to destroy all incentives for continuation of that. Okay? That's something you have to weigh in on. Make sure he does not do that. So I look forward to working with you on that. Now I want to turn to AI's impact on disadvantaged communities. After all, we're not just talking about using artificial intelligence to write emails or plan grocery lists. We're talking about technology used to calculate a family's mortgage, screen an individual's job application, and determine a senior's medical care. When used in these situations, it is absolutely essential that AI-powered algorithms are free from bias and discrimination. So let's start with a simple question.
Here's what I'm actually going to do.
Can algorithms be biased and cause discrimination?
I'm going to stop this. I'm going to grab me some lunch, right? And I'm going to start editing some content, posting some more content on this channel. And I will live stream later this evening with my homie around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight. I'll probably try to schedule something so y'all can see it if anybody wants to like and subscribe to the channel for that. But I'm going to tap off. I do have some technical difficulties with my mic. Again, I'm using my camera mic. I like to use my mic right here. I've been having some audio trouble. More than anything, I'll continue to grow the channel out. But I want to thank y'all again for spending some time with your boy since 10 o'clock this morning. Waiting for President Trump to announce this UK. Let me switch full screen. You know, I can do better than that. I can do better than this. Hold on. Be here. Wait. That ain't it. There I go. There I go. That's better. I appreciate y'all tapping in for your boy, with your boy for this afternoon for the stream. More than anything, I'm continuing to grow out this channel. I will be joined by my big homie, Fiji the Great, this afternoon or this evening. And we'll be continuing this conversation looking at the Jasmine Crockett piece. And also, if there's anything happening in this AI community that's worth going back to see, on top of a daily breakdown of not only current events, what happened in the DIDDY trial and things of that nature, but more than anything, I want to thank y'all for tapping in for the stream with your boy. I'm about to log out and get me something to eat and send out alerts. Okay, Gwendolyn, I'll do that. I'll make sure I send out an alert. If you subscribe, I believe you get an alert, but I'll try to figure out that. I am still learning how to build out this YouTube channel, so bear with me, but I do appreciate y'all patience and working with me as I not only build out my office, there will be a desktop here soon. I'll be moving my camera angles, and guess what? I have a placard for my logo, which will go on that wall. So we're going to change up in a lot, but more than anything, I'm building out my office, I'm building out this channel, and I want to build with you, right? Vbert, right? I appreciate y'all tapping in the stream with your boy this afternoon. Again, make sure you like and subscribe. I will have more content on the channel. I'm not just trying to do shorts. I actually want to do some breakdowns. It's just time. I told the prospective client that's going to sign a contract today, I need 50 hours a day, bro. 24 hours is not enough. Because I want to stream, I want to play the video game, I want to spend time with my family, I want to cook, and I want to spend time with y'all too. But either way, I appreciate you tapping in for the stream.